Hello. Welcome to another edition of Mr. Scott's Virtual School. Today I'm going to do a quick recap of chapters 20 through 22. I know it was quite a bit to read, 16 pages, a little bit more than we normally do. But we're going to talk a little bit about, we're going to start with chapter 20, okay? So chapter 20 was pretty important. First of all, Misha came back. He smuggled for the first time. He came back with food. Now he came back with some fish, and it seemed like everyone, really seemed to enjoy that. Everyone seemed to really want the extra food for sure. Then something very interesting happened. At that point, everybody was rounded up by the Nazis. They were shoved downstairs. They were shoved into the courtyard, and they had to stand. Basically stand straight, stand at attention for hours and hours in the snow, in the freezing cold. Now, some of you may wonder why the Nazis would do that to them. It's pretty simple. Some of you also probably already figured it out. They did it simply to torture the Jews. They did it to make them feel like they were less than human. You also probably, saw some of the parts where people were peeing on themselves, right? They made them stand so long, made them stand literally all night, said until dayrise, made them stand all night until, a lot of them were peeing on themselves. Something else that happened as they were standing there, the Nazis were basically knocking them down if they weren't standing at attention. Misha was really having kind of a hard time with this. He wanted to really impress the Nazis. He stood at attention probably the best he could. He stood as straight as he could. He pictured himself basically being like an angel, right? And then he fainted, right? Because if you actually stand straight too long, you will actually faint. So that is what he did. He fainted in the snow. At the end of this whole chapter, it kind of wraps up with something that is really, really important to the chapter. Mr. Milgram said something once they were back in the house. He said something very important. He said that he's family now. Okay? He said Misha is actually part of their family. It was what Mr. Milgram said. So it's a very important part of his identity because, for him, he hasn't had a family. And Mr. Milgram finally said that he's family to them. So that was definitely an important chapter, because now it seems like Misha has sort of now been adopted into the Milgram family. So very important to his identity, right?